What was your something's not right moment? For me, it was my grandparents' attic. They had this big, creaky old house that I spent a lot of time in growing up. The kind of house where every floorboard seemed to groan under your feet, and every hallway had shadows that lingered just a little too long. But the weirdest thing about that house was the attic. The door to it was always locked. Not just locked, but locked with an actual padlock on the outside. Whenever I asked about it, my grandma would smile and say, "Just storage, honey. Nothing you need to worry about, but if it was just storage, why keep it padlocked?" I remember being about 12 the first time I really noticed how strange it was. One night I couldn't sleep and I heard soft thuds coming from the ceiling, almost like footsteps. I told my grandpa the next morning, but he just laughed it off and said houses like theirs always make noises at night. He made it sound normal, but I couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't. Years went by, and I still thought about that attic every time I visited. When I was 16, I got bold enough to try the door myself. The padlock was old and rusty, but solid. I tugged at it until my grandma caught me and scolded me harder than she ever had in my life. That reaction stuck with me. Why get so mad if it really was just junk up there? One summer afternoon, my cousins and I were playing hide and seek. I was counting in the living room when I heard quick footsteps upstairs. I assumed it was one of them finding a hiding spot, but when I went up, the hallway was empty. The only door up there besides the bedrooms was the attic door. I swear I saw the padlock move, like something inside brushed against it. A couple weeks later, I came back over when my grandparents weren't home. My dad had asked me to drop off some mail for them, and when I walked into the kitchen, I noticed a small set of old keys hanging on the hook near the back door. One of them had a little piece of tape on it that said A. My hands were sweating as I took it down. I don't know why, but I knew that was the attic key. I told myself I'd just look quickly, prove it was nothing, and lock it back up. My heart was hammering as I climbed the stairs. The key slid into the padlock easier than I expected, and with one click, it opened. The smell hit me first dust, but something else too, like mold and something sour. I pushed the door open and the floorboards groaned. At first, it just looked like any attic. Boxes stacked everywhere, furniture covered in sheets, an old rocking chair. But then I saw it. Against the far wall was a twin bed. Not just any bed, it had sheets on it. Fresh ones, a pillow. And next to it, a plate with half-eaten food that hadn't been there long. My stomach flipped. Someone had been staying up there. I took a shaky step inside, and that's when I noticed the pictures on the wall. Dozens of them. Old photographs of family gatherings, holidays, birthdays, but in every single one, faces had been cut out. Not all of them, just my mom's. Every picture of her as a kid, as a teen, even from recent years. Her face was carefully, almost obsessively removed. My chest went cold. I backed out slowly, locked the padlock again, and ran outside with the key still in my hand. I didn't even realize I was crying until I called my dad. He drove over immediately, and when I showed him, his face went pale. He didn't say a word for a long time. Finally, he told me to go wait in the car. That night, my dad and the police searched the attic. They found more than I ever wanted to know: journals, letters, and even recordings. It turned out my grandpa's estranged brother, who everyone thought had left town decades ago, had actually been living in their attic off and on, and for some reason, he was fixated on my mom. My grandparents had known, but they never told anyone because they thought they were protecting the family by keeping it quiet. That was the day I stopped looking at that house the same way, and every time I think about the creaks in the night, I wonder if it wasn't the house at all but him, moving just above us.